You know that in space, no one can hear you scream? The crew of the commercial starfreighter Nostromo learned this after being prematurely woken up from cryosleep by a mysterious distress beacon emitting from an uncharted moon. Things like this can be very profitable. It's company policy to investigate. Unfortunately, although rich in visuals, the only thing they score from this ruinous vessel is a parasitic alien, hugging the face of their unfortunate executive officer Kane. The most competent crew member, Warrant Officer Ripley, is reluctant to let them back into the Nostromo, citing quarantine procedure and how stupid it is to bring anything parasitic back home. To her annoyance, their science officer, Ash, ignores this and manually opens the airlock from the inside. With one man down and a dangerous biological wildcard on board, the stressed and impatient Captain Dallas decides to preemptively leave the hostile world and start returning to Earth. Now they're in space, and the parasite has gone missing. The rest of the story takes place in the cramped rooms and corridors of the Nostromo as the crew tries to strategize against the changing and unknowable threat, eventually learning the dark secret behind why they're here in the first place. Alien is a masterpiece of technical design. It's mandatory viewing, especially for anyone interested in lighting, cinematography, set, or sound design. Even though it's full of 70s monitors and the concept is kinda fanciful, the first word that comes to mind when thinking of this movie is believable. The camera work and editing move around these sets in ways that give you a strong sense of geography. You feel as though you're standing right there with the characters, listening to them talk like real people making real mistakes in this difficult situation they did not ask to be in. When something isn't believable, it's probably because you're not supposed to believe it. It's a very, very tight story with twists that both tie up its loose ends and offer endless possibilities for expansion. Screenwriter Dan O'Bannon focused his story on the alien, leaving the human characters purposely underwritten and nondescript. It's structured almost like a dark ride, leading you through detailed environments that evolve as tension grows. This movie is known for its slow buildup, but even when it's not rushing, it's never standing still. You're always getting something out of it, whether it's ambience, world building, or just some time to think about what's happening. It flies by. Some people, especially critics at the time of release, take issue with the low amount of science fiction present. I don't completely agree with that, but it's true that the movie doesn't go out of its way to explain much of the fictional science or explore any particularly deep themes. Instead, it makes an effort to limit the scale of the movie. Space is big. Alien is a small, isolated monster-in-the-house story with a heavy focus on horror before science. It's a unique vibe. In fact, the uniqueness is probably the biggest issue I have. None of the sequels really make an attempt to match the 1979 movie's identity. James Cameron's Aliens, although preferred by many, pivots the story into more of a character-driven action series, following Ripley through basically the rest of her lives. Meanwhile, Ridley Scott's Return to the Universe, Prometheus, goes way hardcore into the science fiction assets, focusing entirely on world building. I'm overall a fan of the entire franchise, but the only entry that really tries to match the original movie's vibe is Alien Isolation, a video game sequel. I don't even want to get into the director's cuts. Overall, Alien is one of my favorite films. It's a struggle for me to find anything to nitpick more than how goofy this oversized motion detector thing is. I saw this movie for the first time when I was very young, and it really exposed me to the creative side of filmmaking. Between everything I've mentioned so far, the practical effects, and H.R. Geiger's legendary designs, this is a deeply inspiring piece of collaborative visual art. I give it a spoiler warning.
Oh no, not again.
Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. Hello, my ragtime gal. Send me a kiss by wire. Baby, my heart's on fire. If you refuse me, honey, you lose me. Then you'll be left alone. Oh, baby, telephone and tell me I'm your own.
Check, please.